Good morning and happy Monday, June 21st. Hope you had a wonderful weekend last week. How'd you like that rain on Friday morning? We woke up, nice break from the heat, huh? And did you see the news that Mayor Lightfoot was kind of admonishing the Bears because they are showing an interest in a racetrack course and reminding them of their lease to Soldier Field? Here we go again with that nonsense. And President Biden, after a trip, is now back home in the U.S., so we're glad President Biden is back home safely. Anyway, let's look at today's topic. So let's consider exercise in teens. Exercise, what it is not is this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not exercise in kids. You know, several years ago, a neighbor moved in, and she was walking past the house and with her son. And I went out and introduced myself, and she introduced herself and her son, and I looked at the son and I said, "Wow, we have a 13-year-old boy in the neighborhood. That's great. A lot of us neighbors are looking for somebody to cut our grass when we go on vacation." And she looked at me and she said, "I would never, ever let my son do something as demeaning and as dangerous as that." Are you kidding me? I was surprised to find that 21.2% of teenagers are considered overweight. Overweight, for my purposes here, is going to be body mass index. 18 to 25 is considered normal, 25 to 30 is considered overweight, 30 plus is considered obese. And a lot of that is caused by inactivity, eating factors, and genetics. But let's take a look, for our purposes today, on inactivity. I'm going to show you, when I was in high school, I ran cross country. There were lots of programs back in the 70s, which I'm sure there are today. Still, we had cross country, there was track and field, of course there was basketball, baseball, football. I don't really remember hockey, but there were a lot of intramural sports people could get involved in. But let's take a look. I went to Downers Grove South High School, and this was considered a 5-mile run. We're going to run through it real quickly, and most of the field, or the roads at the time, were dirt paved roads. The other thing when I was in high school is we all wanted jobs. Real, honest, hardworking jobs where you got a legitimate paycheck. I was fortunate. I went to work for the Woodridge school system. Here are a few of the schools that I worked at. A lot of the summer jobs were things like landscaping, cutting the grass, trimming the bushes around the schools. My brother, unfortunately, he had a job of tarring roofs, so he'd come home every day with tar on his clothes and whatnot. But we got a paycheck, and at the end of the summer, my first summer working, my father comes into my bedroom and he says to me, "What have you done with all the money you earned this summer?" And I said, "Not a thing, it's all in the bank." It was. And he says, "Well, you know, maybe is there just something you want to do?" And I told him, I said, "Yeah, I kind of want a stereo." It was popular back in the 70s. So he took me to Radio Shack, and I got a receiver. I got a 2 little speakers, and then I bought a used turntable to play my albums on. That's what I did with my summer money. But I also worked at Meadowview School in the evenings during school season. I got there at about 4 o'clock and I worked until 8 o'clock, and I did something incredibly demeaning, demoralizing. I cleaned classrooms. I cleaned bathrooms. Also had a lot of money in my pocket. So when I got ready to go to college, I paid my way to school. I wasn't worried about any student loans or scholarships. It would have been nice to have gotten scholarships and all. I wasn't that kind of a student, but I paid my way through school. You know, a lot of the kids growing up, we all talk about the jobs we had. Working for fast food restaurants was very popular. Some of the kids worked at grocery stores stocking shelves. But it was always like, where are you working? Well, I'm working here. There was a lot of pride with where we worked. And you know, associated with pride was for us guys to have money in our pocket. Okay, Mark, yeah, I know in the 70s times were different. Yes, that's true. But the principles are the same, or the consequences of being overweight and obese. Where there's a psychological consequence of that, there's social consequences to being obese and overweight. There's also the health consequences of being overweight: higher blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, vascular problems. Now, you know, even though my name is Mark Dupre and my initials are MD, doesn't stand for medical doctor. But what I'm telling you about is just common knowledge. And you can go to the Center for Disease Control, the CDC sites, and you can look this stuff up for yourself. It's not rocket science. With obesity being, in many respects, the result of inactivity, this has been a tremendous drain on the healthcare system. That's typically reflected in insurance premiums. Insurance companies, we might not want to believe so, but they at least have to break even. And if they can't break even or make a profit, that means they're losing money. If they lose money, they go out of business, plain and simple. You know, we now have the Affordable Care Act, and most of the insurance companies do not underwrite. They ask you typically 3 underwriting questions. What is your age? What is your home zip code? Because that tends to be where you get your health insurance and your health care. And then they ask you your smoking status. Not asking the health insurance questions. Maybe we don't know that we're overweight. Maybe we don't know that there are things that we can do to take care of the situation that we're in. Maybe we don't know that we should be raising our teenagers to be more healthy and not to exercise like 1, 2, 3, 4. You get my point. So hey Mark, are you picking on video games? Well, not really. I do personally enjoy playing video games. I just don't think video games should be played for 8 hours a day. If you want to put yourself in a better situation, stay active. If you're teens, get out there, do a little bit of work, sweat. Ooh, did I say sweat? Get some of those impurities out of your system. And then maybe when you get a little older and you're buying your insurance, you can go to these medically underwritten insurance companies and get lower premiums than depending on our politicians and the Affordable Care Act. So here's the thing. You obviously probably should get the impression right now I like medically underwriting. Last week we sold a group an insurance policy that was medically underwritten. Premiums are a little bit cheaper. In fact, the group health insurance plans that I do have that are medically underwritten, as a rule, the premiums are substantially cheaper than those groups that follow the Affordable Care Act. And that is my perspective. Hey, if you'd like to find out more about medically underwritten insurance for your group, give me a call at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next week.